Welcome back to episode 4 of the Legal Vixen podcast. I'm trial attorney Karen Kenny, and today my guest is retired LA County Sheriff's Captain Dan Berenger. Thanks for being here, Dan.
Oh, I'm glad to be here.
Yes, I was so excited to have you as a guest and roast you. No, I'm not going to roast you, I promise. How long were you with the Sheriff's Department before you retired?
Just shy of 33 years.
33 years.
Yes.
And that was with all of LA County?
Yes.
You didn't go to any other
No, I was
departments?
only with LA County, the one agency.
And when you retired, you were a captain?
Yes.
Can you explain what your job duties were?
As a captain, I had command of a patrol station, which was the Lomita station, and that encompassed 4 cities. So I was essentially the chief of police for 4 different cities.
Wow.
So I had to deal with 20 city council members, 4 city managers, and the county board of supervisors, all those people.
Were you the brown noser?
No, it kept me busy.
Did you have to go to meetings and stuff?
City council meetings, yes, almost every week.
Gosh. And just sit there, and did you have to talk?
Yes. Usually they'd have a presentation for public safety, and they'd just ask questions. The public would ask questions as well as the council about the current goings on with crime trends.
And you had to give speak on that?
Yes. I had to speak to that, yes.
So before you were a captain, what did you do? I'm not familiar with all.
Do you want me to start at the beginning or backwards from a captain?
Yes, I mean it's 33 years worth, but you can.
I'll start at the beginning.
Okay.
So I got hired and went to the Sheriff's Academy after graduating.
In the 80s?
1986. And then went to Men's Central Jail.
Oh.
For a year and 11 months and 3 days and 4 hours.
That's funny.
It's a busy place.
6 years?
No, a year and 11 months.
Oh, so a year and 11 months.
Just shy of 2 years. And then I went to patrol. I went out to patrol Lomita Station, actually, as a patrol trainee.
Okay.
And then worked my way up to sergeant. Well, detective first, and then sergeant, and then lieutenant.
How long were you detective?
I was a detective for about 3 years.
Okay.
Before I promoted to sergeant.
Okay. When you were a detective, did you do certain types of crimes or?
It was general property and crimes against persons. But after about a year of that, I went to a surveillance and apprehension team, which is a group of detectives and a sergeant who work undercover and follow career criminals.
Oh, wow.
And try to catch them in the act or solve other crimes, based on the evidence and informants.
Interesting. How long were you on that?
For about 2 years.
Okay. So you went from the jail to patrol to detective to sergeant.
Yes.
All in a matter of how many years?
That would have been 11 years.
Okay. Because it sounded like you promoted really fast, but I guess total.
No, it wasn't.
No, you're like, no, it wasn't fast enough.
It was a long time. I wasn't trying to climb the ladder fast. I was enjoying myself.
What was your favorite assignment up until that point?
Probably patrol.
Really?
Really enjoyed patrol, yeah.
Because I always thought when a cop is on patrol for a lot of years, they weren't really respected in the department because they never promoted.
There are some that think that way. That some of the climbers think that way.
Oh, okay.
But the experience you glean from that is invaluable. I was a field training officer at the time, so I was training new trainees as they came out. I had about 13 different trainees during that time period.
Did you like the training part or actually just being out there on patrol? The
most fun I had was working with regular partners when I didn't have a trainee.
Mm-hmm.
They were best friends of mine, so we had a blast.
I can imagine. Jeez. Do you miss the job at all?
Sure. I miss the people.
You do?
Miss the adrenaline, too.
Really?
Yes.
What was the best part about being with the Sheriff's Department?
Just the camaraderie. If it was so large that if, say, you didn't get along with people where you're at, you could always transfer to another unit or pick a different path in your career. There was always opportunities. You could work jails, courts, SWAT, boats, everything.
Did you ever work in the court?
No, I did not.
Why not? You didn't want to be a bailiff?
No, I didn't want weekends and holidays off. I spent a lot of time in court, probably 2 to 3 days a week.
Testifying?
At prelims, mostly.
Oh, okay. Wow, we're going to get into that. What would you say was the best thing about being in law enforcement?
Satisfaction, helping people, getting their property back. A lot of people think burglary is just a property crime, but if someone comes into your house and takes your heirloom jewelry that your great-great-grandmother handed down, and it's irreplaceable, it's devastating to people, and they don't feel safe in their own home. So being a detective and being able to recover some of that property and get it back to the people is very satisfying.
Yeah, I can imagine. So what would you say is the worst thing about being a police officer? And I know things have changed from the 80s up until...
They changed a lot.
Yeah. Well, let's start there. What do you think changed?
The attitude towards the police by the general public, the transparency, the body-worn cameras, just the changes in the laws in California. They're much more lenient now. So those are some of the difficulties you have to deal with. The retirement system got
worse.
It's less money for the kids when they retire now.
So what did you feel was the worst thing about being an officer?
Just being away from home all the time, not being able to go to my kids' soccer games or dance recitals all the time because of the schedule. You just can't take time off.
Yeah, you missed out on a lot of that stuff.
Missed out a lot, yeah.
That would be hard. Let's talk about the body-worn camera situation. Do you remember about when that started to come into play? Because you started in the 80s. There was none of that. I don't even know who would have been the first department to start to use body-worn camera footage, but when did you first?
Probably when I was a lieutenant. I'm thinking about 2010.
Oh, wow.
Is when we really started looking at it. Many departments just did it overnight without thinking of the consequences. The city councils just threw money at them, said, get a contract with these companies and let's do it. But the infrastructure you need for that is insane because of the discovery request probably quadrupled. So we only had a small staff for discovery on the sheriff's department, and that was mostly relating to civil lawsuits. But now you have the public coming in wanting footage of their arrests, their traffic stops, all these things. So we've needed hundreds of people for infrastructure. And then the data storage, it had to have places to store all the data, and it was very expensive. So the department at the time, Jim McDonald was the sheriff. He took a very methodical approach. There were a lot of committees, a lot of input. So it came on really slow with the sheriff's department because there was so much involved. And it was such a large department. I mean, we're talking close to 20,000 employees, civilian and swarmed together.
That is a lot.
And we needed people on the streets, so they're moving money. Instead of hiring new deputies, they have to hire civilians to do discovery. They have to hire IT people to store the data and be able to retrieve it. So there's a lot involved.
Wow. And then when that started, I'm assuming that all the officers had to be trained because
they all had to be trained. So you're talking about 9,000 sworn deputies getting trained on that. And that has to be done in phases because the department's so large. And as well as not just the training, the policies had to be written too. So from the administrative side, they had to write all the policies on.
Were you involved in that at all, the policy writing?
Not in the policy. I was already retired when they started implementing it.
Oh, wow. That's how long it took for them?
Yes.
That's crazy. So that would have,
I retired in the end of 2018, and they were just started in about 2019.
Wow, I didn't realize that because I think most of the agencies in Orange County had started using it. I think Orange County sheriffs had started using it before then.
It's very time consuming. I'm not against body cameras. I'm all for transparency, but as friends of mine are still on the department, supervisors and managers, every force incident, they have to review all this body camera footage from every deputy at the scene to make sure it lines up with the reports and there's no violations of policy. So it's very time consuming for the supervisors, and they have less time to supervise because they spend so much time dealing with these force packages and pursuit packages.
What do you think are the benefits of the body-worn camera?
I'm sorry?
The benefits of having the body-worn camera.
The transparency, and it will save deputies' jobs because people do make allegations that aren't true.
What?
What?
Just kidding. That happens all the time.
Yeah.
Do you have any opinion about any downfalls of body-worn camera footage?
Just what I discussed, the time consuming, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and also it doesn't show the whole picture. It only shows one view.
Oh, that's true.
It's very, very tunnel vision focused. So there could be things going on that he sees the officer sees in their periphery that it's not going to be caught on camera.
Oh, that's
and
true
it may
too.
cause them to react different.
I never even thought about that, but yeah, that's so true. I have a case right now, which I won't state, who's involved, but it was an execution of a search warrant, and all of the task force officers that went to this house weren't all wearing body cameras on them, which I thought was odd. At least I'm sure you can speak for LA County, but do they mandate that everybody needs to have one on when they're on duty?
When they're having contact with any member of the public, of course, on any search warrant entry, they should be on.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Generally, most agencies have a policy for that.
Interesting. Okay.
Covering that.
You just gave me a discovery request
Back
idea.
when I was doing search warrants, our only requirement was we did audio for the entry so we could show the knock notice and the time between entering the house.
Is there a required period of time you're supposed to wait after you knock before you bust in?
I think it's a reasonableness clause. I mean,
my case was like 3 seconds.
Well, if they heard something or it's subjective.
Yeah, my case is very subjective. At some point, I hope to talk
about.
And
you can get a no-knock warrant, of course. You know that. For dangerous situations.
Yeah. Were you ever on like a joint federal task force for anything?
I was on a task force with the ATF and the Sheriff's Department, and for when I was on the surveillance team, and we worked some Aryan Brotherhood cases. They were going up on a wire. I never sat on the wire room. I was sworn in by the federal judge to be able to, but I promoted.
What's the wire room?
I promoted before that occurred in the case.
Okay.
Just where the officers will monitor a wiretap.
Like that's so when we get discovery. Okay, so when we get surveillance, there's literally cops that are sitting in a room and monitoring
24 hours. Yes.
This whole time, I didn't realize they're all sworn officers that are doing that.
Yes.
I don't know why I didn't know that. You'd think I would have known that because I've been an attorney so long. Interesting. Did you ever feel uncomfortable doing search warrant executions when you're showing up and these people don't know you're coming and you don't know what's on the other side of the door?
Oh, yeah. It's one of the most dangerous situations you can do in law enforcement besides domestic violence calls. Yes.
That's true, too. Have you ever
because you don't want them to think it's someone coming to rob them and then to start open fire on you as you're going through their door or their windows.
Yeah. Have you ever, and you don't have to answer this if you don't want to, have you ever been shot at?
Not directly that I know, but I worked the 92 riots and there were gunshots all around us for days. I never saw bullets flying by my head or anything or heard them.
Wow.
But there was a lot of gunfire.
Where were you during that?
South Central LA.
That's crazy. I completely forgot about that. That was just nuts. So when that broke out, everybody got dispatched, like people?
The entire department, detectives, everybody.
People had to come back?
12-hour shifts, no days off, no vacations.
Wow. How long did that last?
For about 2 weeks.
2 weeks?
Yeah.
That's crazy. I completely forgot about those times. I do have some questions that are more lighthearted. What's the most hilarious call you've ever been dispatched to?
So many, but one that stands out. And disclaimer: I'm not making light of people's addictions or
no, I know.
Or their troubles.
Yeah.
But I came into work one night to work graveyard shift, and I was told, "Hey, your partner and you're getting split up tonight. Someone called in sick, and he's going to work the desk. You're going to work alone." And I said, "Okay."
So you're out on patrol alone?
Yeah, which was very common on the sheriff's department. But it was pouring rain, and I was assigned to Palos Verdes area, the peninsula.
Palos Verdes, nothing's happening bad there.
So I'm getting ready, and he goes, "Hey, I got a burglar in progress call up in Palos Verdes. Can you respond to it and handle it?" I go, "Absolutely, send it to me." And I took off and went. So I'm like, this is really weird. And pouring rain, 11 at night, someone breaking into a house.
Mm-hmm.
So I get there and park down the street, and I see this guy standing in the street in his underwear. And I call him over. I go, "You the homeowner?" He's like, "Yes." I go, "What is going on?" He goes, "Well, there's these 2 girls in the house that I don't know, and they're going to steal from me." And I could see his pupils were very dilated. And I go, "Okay, he's under the influence of something. But I don't know if there's people in there or not."
Mm-hmm.
But I go, "Where's your identification?" He goes, "Oh, well, I threw it on the roof with my car keys because I didn't want them to steal it." And I'm not climbing on his roof in the rain to go get it. So I go, "Okay, let me get some backup, and you wait here in the car." And I'm thinking I'm going to arrest this guy for being under the influence, regardless of what the outcome is, probably.
Mm-hmm.
He turned out to be a CEO of a large company.
Ooh.
And he just kind of hit rock bottom, I think.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah, it is. It is. But so I figured while I'm waiting for backup, I'm going to have him sign a consent to search because I go,
No, we're going to get into that.
I'm going to go in there for exigency because you're saying someone's breaking in, but I want it in writing that you said I can go in your house because I'm going to find probably some evidence against you too, the way I'm looking at you right now.
Yeah.
So I did that. He's fine with it. Backup got there. We go in the house, and I see this naked woman in the kitchen washing dishes.
What?
So a female deputy's with me. I go get her. And I went to the family room, and there's another naked female in there smoking crack cocaine with the pipe in her hand, lighting it, watching pornography. And I'm like, "Hi there." She jumped out of her skin, and I grabbed the pipe, arrested her for possession. The other girl was arrested for under the influence of cocaine.
At least she was cleaning.
So, yeah, tidy. So I get the backstory from the guy. He had just fell into rock cocaine probably a few months before. And he went down to this place in Long Beach the Port of LA called the Third World. It was a junkyard, and it was just like Night of the Living Dead down there at night.
Really?
It was like an encampment, and you could go buy drugs, prostitutes, anything. So he took his nice car down there, got a couple of girls, and brought it back to his house in Palos Verdes for a few days.
Few days?
Binged for a few days. I hadn't slept for 3 days.
Wow.
So I go, "Look, right now, all I'm arrested for is under the influence." Back at the time, under the influence of drugs carried a 90-day sentence.
Yeah.
But it could be diversion instead.
Mm-hmm. But
he was very cooperative. He goes, "I'm so sorry." I go, "I think you hit rock bottom here. I think you need to reevaluate what's going on in your life, sir." He agreed. And I said, "As long as you don't have any drugs on you." He goes, No. So just as I was pulling into the station, he started crying. I go, "What's wrong?" He goes, "I forgot I have some rock cocaine in my shoe."
Oh, jeez.
So I wrote the report just like it happened. Like it was pretty lengthy because I didn't want to go back out in the rain. So I spent some time writing it. I spent some time writing it the rest of the night and booking the 3 individuals. And I went for a preliminary hearing.
Oh, they were challenging it.
And I saw the district attorney, many cases when you have a DA caseload, they don't read the case file till they get there in the morning after calendar.
So true.
So he's reading. I see him laughing. He's like, "Did you write this?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "It reads like a novel. I love this. He goes, "Don't worry, you're not going to be here long today." So he goes to the defense, and obviously they took a plea.
That's so funny.
And it was quick, and I never heard about what happened to him. I'm probably got into a program, I hope.
I'm sure. Hopefully he saw the light and changed his ways. That's sad. But you never know. There's so many people, and now we have fentanyl that people are.
Oh yeah, it doesn't take much for people to fall through the cracks fast.
Yeah, it's really sad. Okay, have you ever went on a call where you went into the wrong house?
No.
Okay. My husband, the fireman, did. So I guess
I've been on search warrants where other teams went to the wrong house.
and actually busted in?
Yes, it's pretty common.
What?
No, it's pretty common.
was like,
No,
wait.
not for the wrong house. It's pretty common for our gang detectives to do large-scale search warrants, like 30 or 40 locations simultaneously.
Mm-hmm.
So how much, as an investigator, background work do you have time to do on every house?
Yeah.
So a lot of times they'd go to the house and hit it, and, well, he hasn't lived here for years, type of thing. It was a relative's house.
Oh, jeez.
So that was always resulted in civil claims and complaints.
Mm-hmm.
So when I got a warrant like that on a big, large one, I would tell my deputies to go out and do their own background, make sure we're at the right place before we go. We have a couple days before we go to this house for the warrant.
Did you make them come and talk to you about it before
Yes.
everybody went out? So so there's different levels
We had briefings. First is a large-scale briefing with the investigator and all the teams involved. There's hundreds of deputies involved in these things when it's that large. And SWAT teams. And they're all night service. They're 3:30, 4 in the morning.
Oh, wow, night service. Because
Yeah.
the ones I'm used to would be, the ones that are happening at 6 a.m. And it's because I do mostly federal. And there always seem to be around 6 a.m. with all the feds showing up. So, wow, 3 in the morning. I don't know if I've ever had to deal with one that happened that early. So that's where you get night service.
Mm-hmm.
And what do you have to prove to get a judge to sign off on night service?
The exigency or the danger for the deputies serving the warrant or destruction of evidence. So they'd have to write in their warrant the reasonableness. But, I mean, how do you do that for 30 or 40 houses? It's kind of...
Yeah. So who picks the time frame?
Usually the SWAT teams. They would go out and scout the more dangerous houses, and they always want to do night service.
Because thinking people are asleep?
Yeah.
But if they're doing drugs...
You don't want people to start running through the house or whatever if they're asleep.
That's true. That's
Well,
crazy.
there are times, the people stay up all night, so...
They've been up for 3 straight days,
yeah.
like the guy in his underwear. At least he had his underwear on. I was going to ask, which kind of goes into one call that you already talked about, but have you ever made an arrest for indecent exposure?
Many times, yes.
Do you have any that are memorable? Or were these people usually under the influence, though?
Usually methamphetamine.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, it makes them want to take their clothes off.
Really?
Dude, I don't know why. No, there was a prolific indecent exposure guy that when I was on the surveillance team, we followed him and caught him in the act.
Oh, wow.
And he was doing it in broad daylight all over the South Bay.
Like, would he target people? And
He would target women walking with pushing a stroller and pull up in his car.
I've always wondered why.
It's a mental imbalance, I think.
Yeah, probably. Those people need
or drug-induced, yeah.
That's true. I have one that I want to ask you. Because I've had so many cases in my career as a public defender and as a defense attorney where the people are like, they searched my car and I didn't give them permission. And then I get the police report and it kind of explains how they were being talked to. And then the cop's like, well, then can I search your car? Okay. And they're claiming that that they were tricked into giving consent. So are there any types of tactics that, law enforcement uses to try to get somebody to agree to let officers search their car?
You always do better with honey than vinegar. I was always nice to people, talk to them, explain what I was doing, what I thought. And more times than not, they would give consent. And a lot of times I asked for consent when I didn't need it, when I already had a probable cause, just as an extra layer.
Did you make them sign something that
on
said
a car
that?
search? No, because the car search was so, the requirement wasn't that the threshold for probable cause wasn't that high because it was mobile. A house, of course, any house or room that I search, we get written consent, but not so much with cars.
Okay, what's the craziest item you've ever found during a car search? Please don't tell me a dead body.
No, just, I don't know, weapons, drugs, a lot of sex toys.
Oh, geez, I could imagine. What about in a house?
Same thing.
Okay, so you've never come across something like
a dead body or anything? No.
No, okay. That's crazy. You've been on calls, though, with when there's been murders and stuff. And
Yeah.
After you go on that type of a call, did you ever feel like mentally like, oh, I need to process this?
Usually only if children were involved.
Hmm.
That was difficult to deal with, but most of the time, no. You just kind of build a thick skin, as your husband Rob probably has too, working in the fire service.
Yes, very thick skin. Did your department offer resources to you guys if, something was just horrific?
Oh, yeah. We have employee support services. You call them. That was completely confidential. They couldn't even tell your supervisor that you were seeing them or reaching out to them.
And they were trained mental health counselors?
Yes.
Oh, that's good.
And hired solely for the sheriff's department.
Okay.
And when I was a captain, the doc for our area used to come talk to me all the time. Like, are you okay? This is the
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Uh-oh, he was seeking you out for a reason.
He stopped by and chat, once a month maybe. And he'd go through the station and talk to employees and just see how everyone's doing.
Oh, that's good that they did that.
It's good, yeah.
Because I don't think Rob's department did that. You kind of had to reach out on your own.
No, it was nice that they did spot checks.
Spot check, that's nice. You told us before that you've testified in prelims.
Yes.
Have you ever testified in trial?
Yes.
Okay.
Let me get to that.
Okay, yeah.
So in patrol, I probably made 200 to 300 arrests a year average.
Wow.
So that equated to a lot of prelims. I only had one case go to jury trial out of all those arrests.
Are you serious? That's pretty good.
Well, I learned my lesson early about being thorough in my writing.
What, from a defense attorney? Did you get grilled?
Absolutely.
Do you remember the attorney's name?
I don't want to say it because I'm not sure it's the same attorney because this was back in 1989.
Oh, wow. That's a long
But
time
I'm pretty sure I know who he is.
I hadn't even passed the bar then. That's a long time ago.
But yeah, my training officer, I was brand new, 2 weeks on the job.
Oh, no.
And my training officer steered me wrong on taking some shortcuts and leaving things out of a report. And he didn't show up for court, but I was on the stand for 2 days on a prelim getting grilled. And I was mad at my training officer. I was mad at the defense. I was mad at the DA for filing the case because I go, there's nothing here.
Oh, geez. Did you testify? There's nothing here.
No, I didn't. But it was New Year's Eve, 1989, pouring rain. We went out in service. We were probably 12 calls behind, just leaving the station.
Wow.
And we got an arson call. And we didn't get there for 3 hours later. Probably.
Wait, something's burning and you guys didn't get there for 3 hours?
Yeah, the fire department had put it out already.
Oh, okay.
It was a car fire.
Okay.
So this lady said, I heard my ex-boyfriend's car's very distinct exhaust. So I looked out the window. I have a restraining order against him. So I looked out the window and saw taillights going down the street that looked like his. And my car was on fire.
Uh-oh.
So we took the information, called the arson investigators, let them know. They said, we're not rolling out immediately on this tonight. We'll do it another day. And just when I wrote the report the next night, because we had so many reports, we couldn't finish them that shift. Mm-hmm. So we came back to work the next night. We cleaned up all our paperwork. Well, my training officer said, no, don't put about the boyfriend. She can't prove it's him. She never saw him. And so we left out the restraining order part. All that just made it a whodunit arson.
Oh, no.
And I got grilled because it turned out the background, he had an extensive history of stalking her.
Oh, my gosh.
And he was on felony probation. So they filed a felony probation violation, a stalking, an arson charge, and we didn't have a lot of evidence. So I got grilled on stand. Why isn't this information in there? Mm-hmm. And the defense was like, was she drunk at the time? I'm like, well, it was New Year's Eve. It was 2 a.m. And I saw wine bottles. I'm sure she'd been drinking, but I didn't check her. She's in her own apartment. So they just, exculpatory evidence, discredit the victim on the case. Mm-hmm. It got dismissed.
Oh, it did?
Yes.
Wow.
So after 2 days on the stand at a prelim, I go, I'm never leaving anything out of a report again. I was, just a couple weeks on the job.
2 days on the stand. That's crazy.
And over the years, people are like, you put too much in your reports. I'm like, no, I don't. I'm not going to go through that again. I'm putting every fact that I know is going in there. I don't care how many pages it is.
That's funny. I've done the same thing and burned officers during prelims that they left stuff out.
Yeah, shortcuts are not the way to go.
Yeah, and I've gotten some cases dismissed. That's good though that you learned early and then changed your.
And I brought that to all my trainees. I made sure they had everything included in their reports, all their observations.
Have you ever had to supervise any deputies where you're just like, how did this guy get hired?
Yes. Unfortunately, when there's shortages of officers on the street and they get funding for hiring, they'll kind of fast track the backgrounds.
Oh, really?
They stopped doing that, but there were periods of time where they were fast tracking hires and people were slipping through the cracks and there were some bad apples.
Like, obviously you don't need the names, but like what was bad about them?
Just their background,
criminal history,
past use of narcotics got through, so that could come about. You could tell that they were a little bit too street savvy. And when they were rookies, I go, he knows too much. I go, why does he know all this?
Interesting. And do those people, even though they were fast tracked and got the jobs, did they stay on the jobs?
Some did, yeah.
Huh. Did they actually end up being the ones that stayed on the job being good officers because of their backgrounds?
Some of them were very good officers because of their background and their street savviness. So that helped them. But, you can't have people with bad morals or criminal backgrounds carrying a badge and gun.
Well, I'm just trying to think did any of them have felony convictions?
No.
Okay, because I was thinking
you wouldn't get hired with a felony conviction.
Okay,
no.
So they were able to
maybe admitted use of marijuana or other drugs during their background, they let it slide.
Oh, that's
pretty minor.
Yeah, especially nowadays.
Well, nowadays it's not as big of a deal, but they did try to correct that. They had hiring committees where panel lieutenants. There were six of us, and every week we'd go and read the backgrounds and approve whether they go on to the next step in the hiring process or not. Make a recommendation.
So you got to be involved with that?
Yes.
How many, were you a captain at that point?
No, I was a lieutenant. That's before I made captain. So
you went from, because you were told us, and then I think we
that was just like a little side project.
A side project?
Yeah, well, I was working, patrol station as a lieutenant. I'd go pick up the background folders, a big box. They'd deliver them to me, and I'd go through them, and then we meet once a week or every 2 weeks and go through them and vote this person. And this is why I think we should hire this person or we shouldn't hire this person. Interesting.
So you went from sergeant to lieutenant to captain? Is that how that went? Okay. Because like I said, I'm not familiar. What's above captain?
Commander, which would be probably overseeing maybe 10 captains at 10 stations, 10 units of assignment. So very busy. You work downtown, a lot of policy, I didn't want to take that next step because I didn't want to drive downtown LA every day.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
I mean, they give you a car, but still.
Yeah, I did a jury trial in downtown LA last month. That was hell. I had to be in court by 9, so I would leave at 7. And then court wouldn't get out till 4:30, and it would take 2 hours to get back to Orange County. I was just like,
and to do that every day, I was like, no.
Yeah, I don't know how people do it, honestly. That's crazy. I know I have some more stuff for you. I actually had a lot of questions for you, more for you than I did my husband. Have you ever, well, I guess this kind of goes into what we already talked about, testifying, where you got grilled by a defense attorney. Did you visibly get upset? Were you?
No, I stayed composed.
Okay.
The defendant was, heckling and going, "Oh, my attorney's burning you," in the elevator, that type of. So
that's funny. So the guy was out of custody.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he was out of custody.
Yeah, that's what I miss about being a public defender it was more like you had so many more cases. When you're private, you can calm your caseload down because you can pick and choose.
Right.
But interesting to note is your daughter used to work here while she was in law school and became a public defender.
Yes.
Did that bother you at all? Did you want her to be a DA? I was like, yes, I influenced her.
Of course I wanted her to be a DA, but that's beside the fact. I'm very proud of her. She learned a lot from you. She's one of your little vixens.
Yes, that's so funny. She was such a good employee too.
So I'm proud of her, and the system wouldn't work if we didn't have defense. It's fairness. Yeah. So I understand the whole system. So yeah.
Does she call you to talk about her cases ever?
Not normally, no. She might have a question on policy, and I'll answer that.
That's so great that she has that resource. I didn't have anything like that. I just had other public defenders, but
she'll ask, I'll send it to her. I'll go online and find the policy and send it to her.
Are all the policies and procedures?
Sheriff's Department were. I don't know if they still are, but yeah.
What about other departments?
Usually not.
I know. I was like, that other case I have, I can't find anything. And the department that's involved is really small.
Yeah, they probably don't have it published online then.
Yeah, I can't get the information I need. That's all right. I want to go back to the body-worn camera footage. So when officers have it on, they get trained, do they completely control everything about it? Like, they have to put it on correctly. They have to turn on the audio. They have to turn on the video. So everything's dependent on how the specific officer uses it? I
believe so. I did not or was not still there when the pilot project started. Okay. So I don't know all the policies and how the inner workings of it.
Okay. Because that's my biggest complaint is I'll get something happens. I'm like, oh, that's going to be on body-worn camera footage for sure. And then we'll get a report, oh, my body-worn camera wasn't working or I didn't turn it on.
Well, you have to realize that if you're in a police car and you pull up and you see a guy with a gun take off from you and you go after him, the last thing on your mind is
your body worn.
First thing is the radio and your safety, other units there and having your firearm out. And I can see how it happens.
Yeah. I can't remember all the instances that I've had that, but it's just like, every time that happens, I'm like, of course it wasn't on. Of course it malfunctioned. It's like so infuriating. One last area of questioning I wanted to ask you was, nowadays criminal justice reform is like a big topic.
Yes.
Things have totally changed from when you were first became a deputy to when you retired and even since then.
Since then, yeah.
If you could change anything about the criminal justice system that we have, what would you change about it?
Ooh, the whole system?
Well, let's be more specific. So I think a lot of people have had criticism about officers and their specific training when it comes to dealing with people with mental health issues. Because I've heard some lawmakers say they shouldn't be police, they should be like social workers, which I don't necessarily agree with that. But I think they need to integrate some type of training for officers to be able to better understand when somebody's...
And how to deal with people in a crisis.
Yeah.
And that's going on. They are getting trained, at least with the Sheriff's Department. That was going on when I was still there.
So what kind of training did they start to address that?
I believe it was a 40-hour course, mandatory.
Oh, wow.
And taught by, mental health workers and told them how to calm the situation down. And we had some deputies that were really good at it.
Really?
Yeah, that were trained. And there was one guy I relied on all the time when I was a captain. I said, hey, I need you to go to this call. I need you to calm the situation down.
Wow.
And he was great at it.
Yeah, that's one of the things that would be frustrating from a defense perspective. We get these clients and like, you clearly have mental health issues and I'm sorry you got treated that way and beat up because they didn't understand what was wrong with you. And I've had some clients that have been autistic, and that's not necessarily you could tell right off the bat, but then they just get treated horribly. And then they get charged with a crime. You're like, what? And then you get their records. You're like, oh my gosh, you've clearly been this way for a long time. And cops didn't realize when they're talking to you that maybe there was an issue.
That's part of the training is slowing things down. I think a lot of times everything is too rushed and everyone just wants to end the call. And that you really, when dealing with the mental health crisis, you really have to slow it down. Time is on your side. You can get resources. Mental health. We have mental health people who respond from the church partner and go out to a call.
Oh.
They're riding with a sworn deputy in a car.
Oh, interesting. So their background, what would their title be?
I can't remember the name of the civilian workers, but the deputies were assigned, I can't remember the name of the unit. It was a mental health unit, and
they're like therapists sort of, or trained?
They'd be the therapist, and they would be their armed protection, and they had a better understanding than the patrol deputies on mental health crisis. So they were county-wide, so it could take sometimes a couple hours to get them to a call. But once they got there and took over, instead of the patrol deputy doing a 72-hour hold on them, they would do it themselves. They would take the person, because they had them calm down and take them to the hospital.
Okay, speaking of 72...
Sometimes in an ambulance.
Okay. Speaking of a 72-hour hold, which we call like a 5150 situation where somebody's involuntarily committed, I've had situations where there's clearly a mental health crisis. The person gets 5150 and then they have charges filed against them. I'm thinking...
It's contradictory.
Isn't it?
Yes.
I had a case out of another county where my client was having mental health issues, and unfortunately he had a gun and ended up shooting the gun in the dirt. And then the response from Sheriff's Department was insane, like helicopter, all these cops, which I get it because somebody discharged a gun. Right. But then he was 5150'd and they still filed charges against him. And I'm just like, okay, I get it because it's a gun, but can't we do something else here? And he shouldn't have to go to jail.
Right.
So in those situations, because I know before a DA files charges, the police officer, the sheriff, has to fill out the report and then submit it to the DA, right?
Yes.
So in those situations, for like 5150 situations where there's mental health crises going on, does the deputy... do they make the decision to still send it to the DAs and they're like, it's their decision if they want to file charges?
Usually, yeah. I can't think of too many cases where there's criminal charges filed in that situation.
But
they would be deferred to the district attorney's office, so the onus was on them to reject the case.
So
just for liability reasons.
I see. Which that makes more sense for liability reasons. The officer's like, look, this happened. You guys decide. Yeah. That makes sense. It's just so sad. Like, I think mental health, especially nowadays and with the younger generation, there's just so much of it. And you get these kids that are just doing stupid stuff and, they're so young.
Yes.
I don't know. I think that goes back to like criminal justice reform that's needed.
It does. It's part of it.
I don't know how to fix it, but it needs to be fixed. If our politicians could focus more on the important things. Don't get me started. I hate politics. I want to end this on a fun note. And I know my husband's been one of your best friends since 4th grade, and he's the fireman, you're the cop. And he would always tell me, you know what cops and firemen have in common? I'd be like, no, what? We all wanted to be firemen. Has he ever said that to you?
Yes.
I've
said it myself.
Oh, did you want to be a fireman?
Yeah, I just didn't want to go.
I didn't know that.
At the time, you had to sit in a tent to get an application on the sidewalk for 2 days outside of City Hall.
Yeah.
There was such a demand for that position. I said no.
Do you think cops are jealous of firemen in general?
Absolutely.
Really?
Firemen get to sleep at work. They get to watch football games and TV and relax in lazy boys, and we're out there in the car trying to eat on the hood. Yeah, so there's jealousy.
That's so funny. Plus, I think, and this isn't, a dig on cops, but I think the general public is like, ooh, firemen. And, some people like that with cops, but then a lot of people
absolutely.
aren't, so.
Even during the big brush fires, everyone's applauding the firemen for saving their house and yelling at the cops for blocking their street because they can't go to their house.
Oh, geez. That's too funny. That's if the one last thing I wanted to ask you is, because it's hard times now to be an officer post 2020, I would say.
Yeah.
and it started getting bad, I think, before then. If people are still interested in pursuing that career, do you have any advice that you'd give younger people that are interested in that?
Yeah, it's very rewarding. The pay is pretty good for, starting salary. You don't need a college degree, although it helps to get hired. And
Wait, how does it help?
they give you usually a 3 to 5% pay raise starting out of the gate ahead of everyone else.
Interesting.
And your chance for advancement to promote is increased if you have a degree in your background.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And right now, I haven't seen it happening yet, but we have the Olympics coming in 2028. So Los Angeles is going to need a lot of people. And they need to start hiring those people now. So it's a good time for qualified individuals to apply. Nice.
Yeah, I forgot about that. That makes total sense.
Yeah.
Yes. Get your applications in, people. Well, thanks so much, Danny. It was so nice to have you on.
Thank you, Karen.
Yes.
And thank you for mentoring my daughter.
Yes, she was a pleasure. I've got to have her on because she's so funny. See ya.
Bye.